Hey, Kurt, it's Friday, and you know what that means? It's time for Stop Being the Best Kept Secret. Wow. Today, we're going to be talking about manufacturing marketing strategies that connect with buyers, and we have none other than DiAnn Beyer here today. Kurt, I'm so excited, man. I'm just going to turn it over to you, and let's get going.
Hey, thank you, brother. Dude, I've been awake since like 1:30. Now, it was partially because how excited I am for DiAnn. It's also because I have a dog that snores really loud. So that was but I've been up, like I've been just so fired up. DiAnn, this is so long overdue. So thank you for taking time out of your schedule to join us. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for having me.
Oh my goodness gracious. We have so much, like Damon, we can be here for like 5 hours, but we can't keep everybody here for 5 hours. So DiAnn, I'm going to start here. Okay. I'm starting here. Now you are a repeat offender, been on the show once before, but it was many, 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 many years ago.
Mhm.
So I'm starting right at the top. You ready? You sitting down?
Yes. Am I getting my jacket like Saturday Night Live?
Yeah. Yeah.
Or do I have to wait for five?
David, we'll get it in the mail to her, right?
Yeah.
We'll have John
Yeah.
from Apparel Redefined send it over to her. But DiAnn, little girl growing up, you know where I'm going. Little girl growing up in wonderful city, Philadelphia.
Yes.
Who was your hero? Who was your hero as a little girl growing up?
That would be my parents. And I just recently lost my father in May. So, dad's my hero. And I hear his voice with me all the time. So yeah. And mom and dad have made an incredible impact on how I view things from a business perspective. Dad was in business and marketing and sales, but mom was in education. And to pull those perspectives together really set me on a different path.
Nice.
Well, absolute love, and I just so much love and respect for your dad. And if you're comfortable, I know that it's fresh, and if you are comfortable with me going there, share a little bit. So Damon, we were talking about like I know a guy. Her dad was like the I know a guy. Like he knew, like he had a great circle, great network, right? Dan, just share a little bit about your dad's superpower and like how he built a successful business, kind of like just being the quarterback, knowing who to go to.
Sure. Dad was a master in relationships. And, we currently, in the last 5 years, I've started to hear it pick up more and more about how businesses do businesses more it's person to person, not business to business, right? It's the relationships we develop. And dad was that guy way before that was popular, right? Like he was able to not only talk to people, but remember their pain points, remember what was important. And when he would go and talk to somebody else, hey, you need to connect with, and he would make those connections. He grew up in a small community where he had a lot of family surrounding him. And it was a tight knit group where even the friends and neighbors were considered family. And it's just something about dad he picked up, I think, from that community, the sense of we all belong together, we're all important together, and that you know um, you're the best, like I need you in my life kind of mentality. And he treated everybody like that. Like he always want to learn from somebody else and wanted to pull them in and do right by them, because he knew what the reciprocal benefits, right? So it was, yeah, dad's my hero.
Well, wonderful. Thank you for sharing that. And and dad's super proud of his little girl. How talk a little bit on like how watching dad in action, we're going to dive into, you're a business recovery specialist. We're going to dive into some marketing strategies. We're going to talk about proactive, reactive, a little bit of mindset today. Just share like how some of dad's superpowers fed into you and how you've applied it to your day to day.
So it's kind of funny because so I'm an accountant. I decided, if you ever heard the saying, the best way to make God laugh is to come up with a plan, that was me. I decided real early in high school I was going to be an accountant. I was going to go to college. I was going to get my CPA. I was going to work for a major CPA firm. And God went, yeah, right. And dad was in sales and marketing. And at the same time that I was graduating and getting into manufacturing, Dad switched careers and got into working with manufacturers. So we often tease each other. Did I follow him or did he follow me into management, into marketing, and into manufacturing? And so, but Dad just had this incredible way of just really getting down to the issues that were bothering the people, their problems, and finding solutions. And that's where I think Dad, I view myself not just as an accountant, but a problem solver, and able to have the difficult discussions that we, if you only tell me tip of the iceberg of the problem, my solution is going to miss the bullseye. And Dad had a great way of creating this natural, relaxed environment where we can talk about the problems and create a safe zone. And I hope I do him justice by pulling that forward, because he was a master at that.
Yeah, absolutely. So love it. And the safe zone. And so I'm going to go, let's just dive right in. Damon, you ready to roll up your sleeves? Let's dive right in. So you, dear close friend to both Damon and myself, I feel, iron sharpens iron. My world is so much better with you in it. You just make everybody around you better. You elevate. And one thing that you always love to say is like, it's great having a friend that holds the mirror up. So, like my wife, I don't know if you guys with your spouses are like, hey, is there anything in my teeth? DiAnn's the person that like is going to say like, hey, dude, like Kurt, like you got something in your teeth. Never has to tell me that my hair is messed up, Damon, but just tells me like if I've got something in my teeth. Right. So then you're comfortable having those tough conversations, but you just use the word like from Dad, that safe spot, that safety zone. Talk a little bit. So we're going to dive into like helping manufacturers on their marketing strategies, maybe rebounding or recovery. Talk a little bit like how do you kick off a tough conversation? Is that a good place for us to start? How do you start a tough conversation?
So, I wouldn't say that I have any special skills with starting off this tough conversation, because when you're talking with a manufacturer who's struggling with sales or losing employees or declines in operating, they know they're hurting. They know they have to have a tough discussion, right? But it's creating a space where there's no judgment. There's an ease of flow of conversation, of presenting from a problem-solving solution side of things. To get to the appropriate solution, we need to understand all that is happening and where the problems really are, right? We don't want to just put a finger in the dam,
right,
and then find out that's a much larger problem,
right, or the outlet, right? Dam or the outlet, neither one.
Right. And to go back to, you asked who my heroes were. My parents were my heroes, and they gave me advice. I blend a bit of Dad and Mom, right? Dad was always a big person to say, do your best until you can do better. And that he was always pushing for, you do what you can do now as well as you can do, but always be pushing that constant improvement. Right? Always be moving forward, making something better. And I'm going to circle back to that in a minute. Mom, with her education background and being an art teacher, she always came around and said, remember, anybody coming to you comes to you with their own picture book, their own photo album, their own memories, their own place and perspective. And when you put those two together, to answer your question on how you have those difficulties, it's respect and kindness, first of all, with the people you're speaking with, right? You create that mutual, respectful place. We speak kindly to one another, which I think we all need to kind of circle back and pull that back into our daily lives. And it's where I think my foundation comes from with, we want to constantly be moving forward in improvement. We need to identify we're better together. Everybody brings a piece that helps elevate the team. And when you honor that, when you create that environment, that just naturally, in my opinion, creates this safe place where then we can talk, because we know we can share the vulnerable and the negative and the hard times and the problems, but we know we're sitting in a circle of experts and friends, and that the expertise is going to elevate the entire team.
Drop the mic, Damon. Man, that was phenomenal. Thank you. All right. So guys, thank you for joining us. Drop us a note. Let us know you're out there. If you have any questions, put it in the chat box. We've got an expert here for you. We have our dear friend, DiAnn Beyer. Do yourself a favor. Connect with DiAnn on LinkedIn. She has all sorts of wonderful content that she puts out. Damon, I'm going to slide into, we're going to talk about proactive, reactive. Anything so far that you want to add? Anything you want to chime in?
No, let's just go. Let's go. This is awesome.
This is master class. The educator is in the house.
We are just soaking it up right now.
All right, DiAnn, masterclass. Let's roll. Let's rock and roll. Talk about like somebody being proactive versus kind of reactive. When we say that, what does that look like to you?
Okay, so those are terminologies that I use when I'm talking about U.S. manufacturing. In working with manufacturers over my career, I have noticed that we have the status quo manufacturer, we have a reactive manufacturer, and we have a proactive manufacturer. And what I mean by that are we have manufacturers in status quo who create a product and then feel like this is our baby, we're going to do this, we're not going to change it, this is perfect as is. And they resist change. We have the reactive manufacturer who will continue a similar mindset of this is our product, this is what we do best, we're not going to change, until outside influences come in and impact them and force change. And then they're flying to try to address the issues that are hitting them. And usually these come up and hit them in a negative impact because they weren't able to foresee it coming. Now, there are always things in industry we don't foresee. COVID's a perfect example. I don't think anybody had on their bingo card COVID. Okay? And that created major issues in the industry. A proactive manufacturer is the one who's going to sit there and look at where are we, how can we make it better, how can we move forward, how can we grow, how can we improve. This is where I think everybody in U.S. manufacturing needs to be moving to. Huge advocate for U.S. manufacturing. I think we really need to start having more discussions about U.S. manufacturing and how to improve the industry overall. This is one area, and I'll give you a few examples of why I think being proactive is. Our cell phones, for example, right? If we stood in a status quo or reactive mindset when Alexander Graham Bell started with the phone, we'd still be on the wall. Hello?
Right?
Yeah.
Same thing with our washing machines. If we stood with the way it was done, we'd all still be down in the stream washing our clothes in the creek or on those washboards, right? Constant improvement is constantly changing. And that's the key that I think a lot of people miss is, and I'm going to butcher his name, but the Greek philosopher Heraclitus, he said the only constant is change.
Yes.
And when we move to a place of addressing change happens, and we have to be looking at change and seeing how we can constantly be improving we become the leaders in the industry. We become proactive. We create the next generation of technology or products. I personally, when I work with manufacturers in distress, and I'll give you a big secret here, we do what's called a SWOT analysis. Strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Strengths and weaknesses are internal. You can do this personally for yourself or for your team or for your manufacturing company. Identify those things that are internal, strengths and weaknesses. External are the opportunities and threats. Look at those. Do a square, divide it into columns, list them out. what we do as part of our recovery strategy is we take the threats from the outside external that we can identify, because you can't identify everything, and we say, how can we turn these into opportunities? And then when we're looking at the opportunities that present from that, we move to, how do I need to improve? What are my weaknesses associated to these opportunities? And then when you look at your opportunities, or I'm sorry, your weaknesses, you then move that. What can I do to strengthen, make these weaknesses my strength? So I'm always saying we want to look at how we can stand in strength. If you look at the quadrants of the strength, weakness, opportunity, threat, you're building a backward Z, always taking it to your strength. That is a flow of constant improvement. An example would be, a threat right now to many manufacturers is AI has come out, artificial intelligence. There is an opportunity there of, how can I use this outside software, this intelligence that's coming out, to improve my business. Weakness, I'm not knowledgeable of it. Strength, I'm going to learn it. I'm going to use how to employ it. I'm going to put it in and find out how I can work more effectively. If you're not doing that, somebody else is. They're working smarter, faster, and easier, and they're jumping ahead in competition.
Yeah. And AI is a great example, I think, because it's something that you can put your head in the sand, or you can learn enough to be dangerous and see how can it help us today a little bit, and then how can it help us a little bit more tomorrow as things develop.
Right.
And
Go ahead.
no, that's good. Go.
I use this not just with my businesses, but I think I told Kurt earlier, I just spent time with a girlfriend last Friday night who we went to dinner, and she started asking me about some personal development she wants to do. And we just used this technique. And it was a perfect example, because we sat down and we went through her strengths and weaknesses and opportunities and threats, and what she, and her goals, and we put it all together, and we came up with a plan, which was perfect for what I always talk about. You want to be proactive and constantly improving, right? I then called another friend the next day and said, hey, you have experience in this field. Um, do you have any advice? And I was told, oh, you've got to tell her about this new software package. It's a game changer. She utilized it. And that's a perfect example of where we're better together.
Yeah.
Right. And it's, I've got to say, it's interesting that we're talking today on September 12th about coming together, because to me, the horrific 9/11 activities, when I talk to people about what happened in 9/11, I follow up with September 12th.
Yeah.
Because that was the last day I felt that we as a country came together as a united country.
Yep.
And we grieved, we came together, we moved, we improved. And it's devastating to me right now to feel that we have 24-year-old adults who've never experienced what it's like for us to come together and work in that way. It's and I've seen so many examples in both my professional and personal career of where we are better together.
Yeah.
I just,
yeah,
that's so incredibly important to the process.
Oh, I totally agree. Damon, we've got a couple comments here. You want to grab those?
Yeah, we do. Well, we got first, hello, great topic to talk about. And then we got another topic that, hello from Pakistan. Love learning more from the experts to polish my skills and take the market game to the next level. James Kunkel stopped by, said, this is great. And then we got someone else says, marketing has a great role in terms of connecting with the buyer, no doubt. We're going to get into that a little bit more here. Thanks, everyone, for the comments. Keep them coming. If you got questions you want us to answer, go ahead and drop them in the chat.
Absolutely. Thanks, guys. Happy Friday to everybody. And so again, we've got DiAnn Beyer, just a business recovery specialist. Please do yourself a favor, connect with DiAnn on LinkedIn, follow her content. So DiAnn, so folks just joined us. We're talking about proactive compared to reactive. What do you like? What's it take if I have a reactive mindset? What does it take? Like, how can I change? Like, man, I really want to get proactive, but man, this is just how we've done it. This is how I've always done it. And this has always worked. And I had like if it ain't broke, don't break it mentality. How do I change that mindset to get into more proactive? Any tips or advice there?
Well, it's embracing growth. It's embracing improvement. Right? When we limit ourselves to, and I'm going to start quoting one of my favorite books, mindset. Okay. Mindset is all about, there's a fixed mindset and a growth mindset. When you stay in a fixed mindset, you're not looking for change. You're saying, this is how it's always been done. This is where I'm going to be. When you're looking at growth, that's where you can be proactive. When you're looking for improvement, that's when you can be moving forward. I can't stress enough, in business and industry, the business and industry and manufacturing is always changing. Somebody is always coming out and innovating new products and services. There is always advancement in technology. If we address and accept and acknowledge that change happens, if we want to stay on top of our game, we have to learn to ride those waves of change. That requires a mindset in growth, improvement. How can we do better? What do our customers need? How can we fix their pain points? How can we improve?
Yep.
I think it's
Got the
great.
mic number 2, Damon.
Yeah.
So
Because
go ahead, Damon, please.
Well, and I think when manufacturers are pretty intuitive about doing this when they look at a process, right? I'm making this and I'm making it over and over. They're continually refining, getting a little better. But when, like today, talking about manufacturing marketing strategies, what a lot of people have done is they've done the set it and forget it kind of thing, So they built the website a long time ago. They may have set up something on YouTube or something 10 years ago and really not thought about it. And we have to bring that into our entire business, including the back office, including our marketing, including our operations.
So you bring up an excellent point, and I apologize for skipping over it, right? It's not just how do we take the phone and improve it, right? How do we take the washer and improve it? Our manufacturers are experts in their products and services. But business isn't just your product and service. It's your marketing. And your website is a good example, and LinkedIn is a good example. But you need to stay abreast of the changes that are happening in the market industry. Years ago, LinkedIn was just your electronic business card or your resume and how to find your next job. Now there's a bunch of people out on LinkedIn who are using it to make business connections. If you just have it as your resume and you fix it and set it and forget it and move on, you're being left behind, because those who are using it to build their circle of experts and their business contact portfolio, they're moving. Same with your website. Years ago, when it first came out, your website was a placeholder on the internet so that people could find you because it was the new way of doing business. It was replacing the phone book. But as soon as the first person put e-commerce on their site, the game changed. If you're not staying on top of those changes in the industry, you're being left behind. Websites are now a primary way businesses do their sales, their marketing, and get it, and Google Analytics, from what I understand from those experts who are teaching me. Google Analytics have just changed on how SEO is functioning. If you're not staying on top of that as part of your business model or getting experts involved in that to help you, you're getting left behind. You're letting your website just be your placeholder. So when I'm speaking about being proactive and growth and looking at things, I'm talking about every aspect of your business, right? I'll be honest. in the last 5 years, we worked with a manufacturer that a colleague brought me their financials and said, "Do you see all these negative balances on this account?" And I went, "They're not negative balances. They're using an accounting software from the 1990s that was identifying credit accounts with a negative in front." I'm telling you right now, if you're using software from the 1990s for your accounting systems, you are being left behind by those who have current technology. It's like my Eagles team going out and playing on the field with the best top of the line equipment today and helmets, and your team showing up with the 1940s helmets and gears.
Yeah.
Those are the ones Damon and I played with when we were
Yeah.
Right.
It stops you in your track. You limit your ability, and these are critical things to be thinking about as an overall business part of mindset and strategy plan, because these areas, if you're not working effectively and efficiently in all areas of your business, somebody else is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Hey, and by the way, Damon, let's grab that comment real quick. Somebody, they liked your 9/11 analogy.
Love the 9/12 analogy.
Yeah. So thank you guys. Thank you again. Thank you guys for the comments. Thank you for being here. I know where are we? We're coming to the top of the hour. So if you're just if you're jumping off, thank you. Connect with DiAnn. If you're just jumping in, we've got DiAnn Beyer, business recovery specialist. DiAnn, I don't know if you remember, we had a funny conversation where, in the past, God bless our manufacturers, they relied on trade shows. They relied on jumping in the car, word of mouth. What do you have to say? And what do you have to say for those folks how do we get them more proactive and stop relying on maybe some of these older previous ways of growing business? Any thoughts there?
Okay, so in the past, you had not only trade shows, you had the lovely postcard being sent to your customer, right? I can't stress enough, when you're using the old way of doing something, if somebody comes in with a new technique, they're working harder, smarter, and faster than you are. They're reaching out and talking to somebody that you're not. Trade shows, I know they still have them. I know they're still working on them. But as an accountant, as somebody who's in business recovery, there is a lot of expense with buying a booth and shipping equipment and material to your booth, and then manning staff at your booth and paying for their hotel lodging and their meals and the giveaways. It's an extensive expense. Expenses are something we are all looking at right now in 2025 with the change in the marketplace. And you're limited to those people who show up to your booth. And those people attending the conference might not be there looking for your solution.
Yeah.
However, you have LinkedIn, social media, digital marketing game plan. You're speaking directly to your soulmate. You've got ways for them to search for you on internet and find you. You have an e-commerce platform. You are then talking to your specific customer. And don't quote me because I don't know the numbers, but people now search the internet and the number grows every year before they make a buying decision. We've got a whole generation behind us who do not want to talk to anybody. They want to get on their fancy phones, as my husband and I just say, get on your fancy phone and find it. Yep. And you'll make a business decision at 1 a.m. at night, press purchase, buy it, and your competitor just got your sale.
Yeah. Yep. It's a huge thing when your digital presence allows someone to get to know you, get to know about your company, get to know about specifically how your product or services might help them without them even interacting with the salesperson. It's a huge thing.
Absolutely.
And just like you said, if you can get it all the way to the point of pushing the button to buy, you're getting sales as that company that no one else is going to get.
Well, and I think about the timing of it too, because the original question asked me about trade shows. Well, if I'm booking a trade show now for November, I've got all of September and October and part of November before I get to meet the people who are showing up. And that's if something doesn't happen. Like, Kurt, I was supposed to meet you at a convention 2 years ago, and I had to postpone because my mother-in-law passed away. There's a time effect. But if you have your digital game plan, you have your website set up, you have your social media set up, you have your SEO Yoast, and you're driving traffic to your website, and you're providing a service 24/7, you're capturing those sales from now to that November that somebody else is just waiting to show up to their trade show in November. It's what I call a game changer. And yes, Kurt knows, David knows, I will reference baseball and football analogies all day long. If you want, you need to run the bases on your digital game plan. Make sure you have an e-commerce. And hey, bonus, as a business recovery specialist, I'm always pushing projects that are going to bring big return on investment. ROI needs to be a big piece. Performance metrics needs to be part of that plan, right?
Yeah.
I can sit there and say, hey, your company needs to have training on the guy in the warehouse to drive the forklift. Absolutely. But it's not going to move your bottom line numbers like working your digital game plan, helping you build recovery, helping you get out of lost profits and operating profits.
And first of all, we got a quick comment says, thank you, DiAnn. Appreciate it. One of the things I was thinking about the other day that's changed over the last years, as we talked about some of these set it, forget it people, is that marketing is not a nice to have anymore. It's a foundational piece of your business. And just like your equipment, you're not going to be able to produce the products you want with equipment that's substandard, right? And I was thinking about this specifically in manufacturing and other B2B industries, is that there's a base level of investment that we have to make in our businesses if we want to generate the clients, generate the leads, and be seen as the companies we really are. Because when we leave those digital presence to languish in time, someone comes to look at you and they go, well, that looks like my grandfather's company. And or they come to you and you really are underwhelming, right? You may have done a million great things or have a million great products that they should really just be wow. But if your website doesn't talk about that, doesn't show the great things and have customers on there talking about it and all the things that people have come to know and respect, because the players, whether we like it or not, the Amazon of the world, that's the behemoth, right? They've driven our expectations to be able to look and go, okay, what are other people saying? How popular is it? And then can I get it tomorrow? You know, and we have to be moving forward as manufacturers.
Great points. You've got me thinking several things all at once, right? You're triggering the brain capacity here. First, have you heard the saying, dress for success?
Yep.
That's what your website has to do. It's got to be current. You have to be dressed for success. You have to put, this is your digital footprint. This is your face of your company, is how people are finding you now. Second, you bring up a great point that I'm going to roll back to changes and threats in industry. You brought up Amazon. Amazon, people are clicking on and buying, right? We need to be understanding and mindful of what's happening in the marketplace. How many more Amazon buildings are being put up to hold product to sell and distribute? How many of our brick and mortar companies are struggling to compete because people are not walking in the door anymore? You're going to start seeing, and it's happening now, our retailers are starting to provide pickup services where you can order online and pick up with no fee, and you don't even have to walk through their store. That is an analogy that's currently happening, not an analogy. That's something that we need to be looking at, because that is a change that is currently happening. That is a threat to everybody's business. How do I get my market, my target customer, my product to the right people when these shifts and changes are happening in the marketplace? When people can go online and purchase a product similar to yours, and they can do it in 30 seconds flat, and it can show up to the door with somebody dropping it off, These are all threats to a business where somebody has to drive up and pick up your stuff.
Mhm.
Like these are the kind of threats that I'm talking about when you're looking, when we're talking about being a proactive manufacturer. A reactive will wait until they lose sales and go, what's happening? Why aren't people buying from us?
Mm-hmm.
And then start looking around and go, oh, wait a minute. Do you see that Amazon building that was just built down the street? Proactive ones are going to say, hey, wait a minute, people are buying online. 83% or whatever the current number is buying without talking to anybody. If, for example, if you still have one of those companies where somebody calls in and goes, hello, you've reached an automated line, press 1 for customer service, press 2 for sales, press 3 for returns. Somebody else is getting on and going,
Mm-hmm.
done. It's the changes in the industry we have to be aware of. These are the threats that are impacting our businesses. And when they impact our businesses, they're impacting our bottom line. When they're impacting our bottom line and our sales, it directly affects our employees. It directly affects our ability to continue. Because, Kurt, what is one of my favorite sayings? We are in business to stay in business.
Dude, yep.
We need to be focused on those things that keep us in business.
All right, we just got to take a moment of silence. Yeah. Dude, this is just an absolute masterclass right here. So, all right, a couple of things I want to recap. I have never heard and thought, I've been doing websites for, I don't know, a couple of years, I guess now. Dress for success. I've never thought or heard that analogy. That total drop the mic. Shamelessly give DiAnn credit for that one, but think about that. So think about your, because like when I say your, I'm thinking about like my own digital presence and like, am I dressed for success on my LinkedIn, on my YouTube channel, on my website? And I strongly encourage, welcome, invite our listeners, man, like really scrutinize that. Right? Yeah. Like DiAnn is notorious. You can't ask for a better friend than DiAnn Beyer. She's going to hold up that mirror to you, man, hold up the mirror to your website and take a look. And you've mentioned e-commerce, digital self-serve, it's what, like 60-70% of the buying decision is now done online.
Yeah.
So DiAnn, for the person that was like, man, DiAnn, like this is a fire hose. Like, I love what you're saying. I just need to get started. Like, I've got to get off the sideline. And so like your recovery folks, again, like, do you have like that first step, that very first step that like, okay, I'm not going to eat the elephant. I don't like Damon, who came up with that expression, by the way, anyway? That's not a very nice one, but I'm not going to do everything. But what's a good first step from your perspective when you work with your manufacturers?
So the first step is realizing we have a problem, right? The first step is something is something there, that somebody is outperforming me. Somebody is out working smarter, faster, quicker, easier, more efficiently. Those are the first steps. Then it depends on, what are you looking to improve? Personal improvement, I absolutely recommend reading Mindset and seeing the 2 mindsets, because instantly, and I've said this to you before, when you read, and look, like I have it all marked on my special pages from this book. I've read this twice. Once you see it, yes. Once you read,
I just read it last week.
And it's funny that we're bringing this up because I have mentored grown, new out of college adults who are asking how to do interview process. And when you're new and you just want that job, you just want to give the answers to have somebody pick you. And I refer them to Mindset, and I refer them to, you're interviewing to make sure it's a good fit for you. Don't go in trying to give all the right answers for them to pick you. Go in with the right questions to make sure they're the good fit for you. Not, it needs to work. Personally, if that's what you're looking for, personal growth, Mindset's a good thing. And if it's professional, I would say get your experts, because We don't know what we don't know until somebody shows us what we don't know. And if I circle back to one of my other quotes, we are better together. When we come together with our experience and expertise and come into a safe zone, we elevate the entire team exponentially. Those are where your solutions are.
All right, my friend DiAnn, you've mentioned the word e-commerce once or twice.
Oh, I think it's a favorite word.
Are you trying to tell us something? Like, are you giving us a hint? Like, are you implying? Are you suggesting? So you are an e-commerce fan? Is that what you're saying?
I am a huge e-commerce fan. It is a huge return on investment. Going back to my accounting standpoint, we were comparing trade shows versus e-commerce.
Yeah.
I am a cost benefit person. I am an accountant. I am going to sit down with presidents and CEOs of companies and owners of companies and say, how much is this costing you? What is the benefit? How much is this costing you? What is the benefit? What is your return on investment in these areas? Trade shows, ton of expense, and I'm not saying don't go to them. They do serve a purpose, and you're the expert in your own industry, and what works for you need to show up, because there's also educational pieces to that. And if I'm sitting here standing in the shoes of, you're constantly want to be growing and learning from your colleagues, that's a good place to do it. But always look at what is the cost of doing something, what benefits, what's our return on investments, where are performance metrics. E-commerce is one that I have seen repeatedly. You put it onto your website. You have the ability for people to purchase from you 24/7. It exponentially changes your sales because it gives a person the ability to buy at 3 a.m. in the morning when the baby's crying and they can't get back to sleep.
Yep.
It also gives you the ability to free up your salespeople to handle the more complicated sales and processes, and those, for manufacturer that customizes things to certain specs for an employee. Your salespeople can work on those, where the direct purchase can be handled in an automated way. It's a game changer.
Yep. Well, and I think too that what we're seeing, and you mentioned this a while ago, is younger buyers want to be able to buy, right? They want to be able to get on and buy. And some people still may want to go to a place and look at a product and touch a product and do that before they buy. But when you do this omni approach where e-commerce is a part of it, you're going to find that even for expensive products, I mean, you can look at vehicles, you can look at CNC machining equipment, you can spend $100,000 online and just bing, bang, boom, and something shows up at your door if you want to. And it's not just for the $29.95 or the $300 item. It's for whatever you're selling. It could be a street sweeper. It can be a whatever.
So I didn't mean to cut you off, Damon, but you bring up an excellent point. For example, changes in industry, what you're talking about, a big ticket item. I can go out to any local car dealer right now and kick the tires, but I can come home and get online, and I can now search price, and I can now order my car online from the one who's going to give me the best deal. So I can still touch it, but the consumer now has the ability to go buy it online from somebody. So if I don't like what you're saying to me in person, I can go buy somewhere else who's going to match me on what's important to me, which is price, because I've already done the research, right? The touching part of the car is just, do I like the way the seat feels? Is the wheel where I want it to be? Right? Because it's already done online now. Right. And you bring the second, I'm going to circle back around to what you said about the younger generation. Right now in the industry, we have an older generation who set in their ways, like talk to somebody on a phone, wants somebody to answer the phone, wants the customer service to be there, doesn't want an automated line. We've got a newer generation who doesn't want to talk to anybody, including ordering their lunch. They want to order it, have it delivered. They don't want to talk to me. If you make them talk to somebody, they're going to order their sandwich from somewhere else.
Yep.
What's going to happen in industry? Those older generation are going to retire and move out. the younger generation are going to become our leaders in business and industry. And then we're going to have a whole new generation coming in with their particulars. If these are our soulmates, our buyers, our client firms, we have to understand the generational understanding in the industry as well, and be mindful that, what did I say in the beginning? The only constant in business and industry is change. Here's a perfect example. Our buying motive, our customers, our soulmates, they're in a constant state of change. We have to keep up with that change.
Yeah. Masterclass. That's all I gotta say, Damon. Masterclass.
Yeah, I'm just writing notes.
Oh my! I got like, I got two. I should have had a bigger piece of paper, but yeah, I'm back and forth on note. DiAnn, this is absolutely phenomenal. I've lost track of time. We're winding down on time. Damon, thoughts, comments, questions I didn't ask, anything that you can think of?
Thank you.
Thank you. This is like, all right. We have two last questions. DiAnn, first off, thank you. This was absolutely incredible. This was amazing. For our manufacturing friends out there, that I want to recap something that you said. Identifying that you have the problem first and foremost, right?
Absolutely.
And then secondly, like just identifying, okay, where could we move the needle? DiAnn focused on she went through that whole Z on the SWOT analysis, and then diving in, what are our core strengths? How can we exploit those? How can we exploit that online, and surrounding yourself with subject matter experts? You don't need to be the expert on everything. You don't need to be expert on anything, but you can be the expert on lining yourself up with the right people. DiAnn, you have a deep bench of subject matter experts. You're found in your dad's footsteps playing quarterback. So as recovery specialist, you love playing that quarterback role. Is that right?
I do. Do I like it? I'm going to go back to what you said. Surround yourself with experts, right? I don't like to be the smartest person in the room. I want to be learning from somebody else. Yep. I know my key strengths and skills, and I am willing to bring them to any table, but I want to surround myself with the people who are going to bring their skill set and help me learn and grow. And that's where the true magic happens. That's where the numbers exponentially change, right? That's where growth takes off, because I don't have to be the master of everything.
Right.
And trying to be the master of everything, I'm going to be the master of nothing.
Right.
And I can stay focused on what I'm good at, and I can surround myself with colleagues who are experts in their fields. That's what makes a difference. And that's a game changer. And I'll circle back to mindset. That's one of the things that she brings up here. She speaks about Lee Iacocca when he took over the car company.
Chrysler.
He wanted just to be surrounded with people who were yes men who just told him he was great because he wanted to be the smartest person in the room. And it led to great failures. And I totally believe that. There's lots of examples in the book of that happening. It is when we bring our strengths to the situation and bring our circle of people and we work together, that's when true growth and prosperity happens. Next question.
Just savoring. We're just savoring. Yep. Okay. DiAnn Beyer, my dear friend. So first off, everybody, please connect with DiAnn. Last question. Yes. Best business advice that you've ever received or that you would love to pass along to young entrepreneur out there, or maybe a seasoned entrepreneur. They just need to hear some good advice. What do you have for us?
So best business advice. I'm gonna answer it this way. My parents gave me a lot of good personal advice. Mm-hmm. Dad was a master of his sayings. Kurt, you know the story. Dad would say, get your attitude right. Attitude is everything. Make sure you get it right. And that led him to recover from a stroke where he was told he was going to be paralyzed for the rest of his life, and actually learn to walk again and drive and live an incredible life post-stroke for 10 years. There's a lot of personal advice I've gotten that have meant the world to me. I'm going to throw it back at you. The best business advice that I've ever gotten was from the two of you. Know your soulmate. Know your customer. Those conversations took me back to surface level where who am I serving? What's my but it forced me to dig deeper and go, where are the pain points? How do I help them become the hero of their story? How can I be the best service to them that they need? How can we elevate? And it also cut the noise out of those who are not truly my soulmates, those who are truly don't need my services. And that enabled me to move my focus to where it really needed to be. So I thank you.
Thank you. That was very, very, that warmed my heart. Thank you, DiAnn. And my gosh, all right. One last question. I guess I lied, didn't I? I have one last question. Do you know my baseball question? Do you know my baseball?
I think I do, and I think I'm ready for it. I love
DiAnn Beyer.
And I love running the bases.
I'm going to tee it up. You ready?
Go ahead.
Okay. It's Philadelphia Phillies are playing the dreaded Mets. It's the bottom of the ninth. Bryce Harper is standing on second base. We need a single, 2 outs, bottom of the ninth. Manager turns on the bench, says, "Hey, Beyer.
Yep.
Grab your helmet, grab your bat, get up to the plate, hit Bryce Harper in for the winning run." DiAnn Beyer, what is your walk-up song, my friend?
So if you had asked me a year or two ago that I would have said Center Field by John Fogerty. Okay. I love it, especially since there's a line in there about Casey at the bat, and my maiden name was Casey. But running the bases, put me in, being there for my clients when you need me. I'll sit the bench until you need me, and then call me in when you do. I love that. That was originally what I would have said was my walk-up. Now I would say, "Here Comes the Sun" by the Beatles. Because in dealing with manufacturers who've been struggling with all of the changes in the industry, with how heavy and dark and difficult it can be sometimes, we all need a little sunshine. And to just have that hope coming that we can work together, we can we can work with our team, we can, hit Bryce Harper off of first and get the team a win. Here Comes the Sun by the Beatles.
There we go. Again.
Nobody's ever used that one. Here Comes the Sun. What a great song. So everybody out there, jump on YouTube, pull up Here Comes the Sun. If you're not familiar, if you haven't heard it in a while, great song. DiAnn, thank you. That was just such a wonderful song. Damon, takeaways, thoughts. What's going through your mind right now?
Oh, just thanks for being here today, DiAnn. Just appreciate you stopping by.
I appreciate you guys more than you know.
Oh, right back at you. So, all right, Damon, we will close out. So first off, a huge, huge, huge thank you to everybody that joined us today. If you've been hanging out with us, I look at the clock. We're at 53 minutes right this. It's a great time to stand up and stretch. And how about, let's give DiAnn a big standing ovation for just this masterclass on how to, just really crush it, taking manufacturing marketing strategies to the next level. Tons and tons of incredible value bombs throughout the entire conversation. DiAnn, on a personal, I want to tell you how much I thank you, how much I appreciate you, how much you mean to me, my family. You are truly a blessing, a gift. You make everybody around you just better, brighter. And when you talk about Here Comes the Sun, I just say, here comes DiAnn. So just what a perfect song for you. And just thank you for making 2025 on a professional level such a wonderful, amazing year. And I appreciate you more than you know. And I thank you from by my heart. Damon, take it away, brother.
All right. Well, DiAnn, thanks for being here. I want to reiterate what Kurt said. Just thanks for being in our lives. It's awesome. It's awesome. And thanks for sharing today like you did.
It's mutual. Thank you. I appreciate you both more than words can say. So
awesome. Well, thanks everyone for dropping the comments. We see there's other people listening too. We didn't see the comments from you, but we know you're out there. Thanks for being there. If you got into this late, go back to the beginning and start over, because DiAnn was sharing some golden nuggets over and over, and you will appreciate it if you do. We're going to be out for now, but we'll be back again with another awesome guest. Thanks, everybody. And we will see you later.